What up?
Hi.
All right.
Hey, what up?
So far, so good.
Pretty so far, so good.
All right. So I was just telling everybody before you came on board that we met through the Remax, tour they took me on and showed me off to everybody. That's how I met you. So we have been speaking a lot during the quarantine. I'm down here in Miami, Pittsburgh cannot do anything. Still, to this day, and that's going to strike a chord with my Pittsburgh realtors that are watching this, because I see everybody's posts on Facebook and Instagram, and they're paid. We still can't do anything. We're not allowed to do anything. So, Michelle, tell the audience and rub it into my Pittsburghers' faces. What have you been able to do during the quarantine?
So I never stopped during the quarantine, but I
Crazy.
did look like a doctor
That's all right.
every single day.
That's good.
I've actually been practicing safety measures constantly. And I have to tell you, you really become extremely creative during this time in that, look, there's a shortage of gloves, there's a shortage of masks, so you have to make sure that you're stocked up. If you're
Now,
not
is that
stocked up,
before? Was that right away, or are you still seeing the shortage now?
that was right. Well, there's still a shortage,
Okay.
definitely. There's definitely, so it's really important that people do, Amazon's great for that. You want to order your supplies before you run out because I have had to run around a bit on a search, and it's really something. The things that we do in our office at Remax Villa, I'm from Remax Villa. Hi, everybody.
Shout out. Shout out.
Shout out to Remax Villa. So we do things like one of our really nice agents was saying, by the way, there's face masks, there's a box of it in the back. So we're really being very careful and sharing and caring, because if you don't, somebody's going to run out and you can't. We are allowed to go 2 people in a home. That's the governor made that announcement. That's a real estate thing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And we're really good about that. But we're doing a lot on Zoom, and I'm doing a lot with. I'm writing a contract after you and I are done with this today, and it was all done virtually.
Right. Yeah, that's the way of the future, and that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to get right into it. Michelle and I have come up with how many bullet points here? 12 bullet points. That's going to be a guide, a blueprint for you buyers out there in this new norm. And bullet point number 1, and you already touched on it, is a video tour. If there is no video tour we talked about provided by the listing agent, ask the buyer's agent. I think that was your point, Michelle. Ask the buyer's agent, the listing agent, to shoot one and send it over. And again, that's because in New Jersey, we can't speak for every state. So, if you're in Oklahoma, Florida, check your local laws. In Pittsburgh, listing agents, you're not allowed to go out and shoot videos. Michelle suggested in New Jersey, I guess you guys are doing that. Your listing agents are shooting videos and sending them to whoever?
Here it's a case by case. And I will say this, if a property is vacant, it's a lot easier.
Oh, right.
Also, we don't want people in the home if we're shooting, obviously, a video. Another thing that we do is Facebook Live when we're in the property, because sometimes, I have to be honest, my own photographer has to do all my virtuals next week because, this person is quarantined. Look at you. You're quarantined. Where are you quarantined? Look at that water in the background. I'm dying.
It's just a painting. It's not real. I'm in Pittsburgh.
I wish I was quarantined there. Are you kidding me?
So the first thing, buyers, is video, and there's different ways to do it. Hopefully the listing agent is, before COVID, we call it BC, was already putting videos up. But if they were not, they're going to have to do it DC. I'm going over some terminology. It's new terminology that you're going to be seeing coming out during Corona. And there's multiple ways to do that during COVID-19, and that is try to have the listing agent do a video. If the listing agent can't do it, next step, Michelle said, would be to have the buyer's agent try to go over and shoot a video. Again, check your local laws. And then last resort, and this is what we're doing in Pittsburgh, and that is to have the sellers do the best they can with their video and then send it to the listing agent or put it up on their social media or something. So that's bullet point number 1. Anything to add to that, Michelle?
I think basically we definitely covered the most important thing, which is, oh yeah, to add to that, Zoom. Zoom is fabulous in terms
Right.
of with buyers and with agents. Like you can basically, you literally, you might even be able to capture, you get a seller, excuse me, on a Zoom call even, and they're sending you pictures and you can guide them because not everybody's, not everybody can leave their house. So we have to respect
Right.
that right now. So
Right.
we always have to respect every seller, right? But this
Right.
time right now, it's very important that we use the tools that we have. I know you've been doing this since the beginning. I have, but I'm definitely that relationship, you know,
Yeah.
agent, but so I've been forcing myself to use all the tools and really be more streamlined because it makes it easier for everybody right now.
Right, yeah, and we're not going to get into it, but I mean, video is the way. It's really been coming a long way, and because of COVID, it was a luxury, it was an option before, but now it's kind of mandatory. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to keep this to the buyers only. So, bullet point number 2 I want to talk about is Google Earth the property. Now, I have been asking my buyers to do this since Google Earth came out, and I'm going to be completely honest. Why I tell them so they don't waste my time. Don't drag me out to this house and then we get there and there's a graveyard next door. So Google Earth the property before. I mean, I'm being completely selfish. However, it's a major benefit for a buyer as well. Have you ever done this, or what is your experience?
Oh, Google Earth is one of the first things I do
Yeah.
because it's like it's really like going to the property in general. I mean, you have to go to the property too many times, but the Google Earth is terrific because then you can see, is it the tree line block? How far? Well, in my case, I'm New Jersey, right? So
Right.
every place I'm working, it's all about transportation to New York City.
Oh
How
yeah.
far is, well, Google Earth it, you can see it right there. It's going to show you. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and like I said in my pre, and as soon as I opened up about Google Earth is, whenever you look at the listing online, even if the realtor is doing video, you can see the property and you can see what's in the property, you can see the backyard. But we all know you're buying the neighborhood. And if there's something unsightly there, like in Pittsburgh, we may have property right next to a power tower, right next to a graveyard or something like that. I don't want to say, I don't want to redline a property so you can rule it out by Google Earth, but that may not be something. As a buyer, that may not be something you're interested in living next to, and you can kind of write that off and be a little more efficient. So bullet point 1, video by multiple sources, getting it out there. Bullet point number 2 is Google Earth. Bullet point number 3 is drive by the property buyers.
Yeah, without a doubt, because that's, it's a visceral thing buying a home, right? Automatically, does this feel like home to me? Sure it does. If you're driving on that block, it's like, wow, how many times have you been with someone and you're driving
Yeah.
down that block and it's like, I love this,
100%. And conversely, how many times have you driven to the house and not even got out of the car because they're like, this isn't for us?
Yeah, we just go, yeah, sure.
So you can do the video.
I remember that.
100%, and we're kind of going in order. So the first thing buyers should do is video, get interested in the property. Number 2 is, okay, I'm interested enough to do a Google Earth zoom down to the neighborhood. Okay, I'm interested. Let's do a drive-by, provided you're allowed to do a drive-by. I mean, I wouldn't tell you to do anything illegal, but you could go for groceries the long way. You can go for exercise a long way and cut through that neighborhood and check out the house. All right, we're moving along. Bullet point number 4, and this was yours. Check the realtor social media sites as they do many live virtuals when they are in the property taking photos. And you had touched on that earlier about Zoom and Facebook Live. So why don't you talk about this, because I'm unable to do this one.
Yeah, so no, it's just that, so if there isn't a virtual tour, maybe there's a reason for that. Many times, if you're looking, if this is why all of these social media sites are so helpful. Most of the time, for myself anyway, now I got to a point where I'm working with a buyer or a seller. I always say, make sure you friend request me, whatever it is, or follow me on Instagram, all of that. So that way, and I'm always putting content on there, and that's really important for buyers and sellers right now. The content is everything, I think. And it's just going to help, navigating. How do you navigate in the new normal? And it's by going back to square one. It's, back to what we kind of touched upon already, and that's just really more of the same.
Right. So bullet point number 4 is if you're unsuccessful in finding video or photos of the property, go to the listing agent's social media. You can find who the listing agent is on Zillow if you're in the continental United States. I'm sure you can find on other websites. But hey, find out it's Michelle Messina. Google her. Check her out on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. See if she has for more images or more videos of the property that you're interested in. And I try to friend request, again, I don't want to get off subject, but I try to social media friend request on all platforms, all my clients. Listen, it's pretty much just a temporary relationship, but I mean, if I have your home listed, you should probably be friends with me because your home is probably going to be on social media and you want to see it. So, and now with COVID-19, it just makes it even more important. All
Yeah.
right.
So we talked about I liked that point that you put in there about handing money snail mail, but really, you want to talk about that actually?
Yeah, number 5 is, we're going to talk about offers. Offers are typically submitted electronically nowadays using various forms. I use DocuSign. I know there's something called Digital Ink. I know there's Loop. You had added a bullet point or some information in there. Can you take it?
Yeah, I was just saying, notary now, and I know again, I can't talk Pittsburgh, but I can talk New Jersey, and notary, but I think it's everywhere. So you'll find out when you come back from that beautiful place. Notary.
Just a picture, just a painting.
Notary, yeah, rub it in. Notary now it's officially okay. It's electronic, which is a really big thing because as realtors, we have to get everything notarized, right? And also for the attorneys, which we'll touch on that a little bit with our buying. But it's really important that we make sure that we let our buyers know about all the tools that are electronic. Because in the past they're concerned. I myself have had buyers say, I'm really I'm a little nervous about buying right now because things are not open. Well, actually, there are websites for everything. There's websites for notary. The thing you have to touch upon is you just have to allow for a couple more weeks for things like COs and notary, because it might not be instant. We as realtors, right, used to run to get things notarized and drop things off. And I'm sure you have done this. I know I have. Going to maybe even the building department for a permit to help someone out if need be, or a CO. Everything now is just taking a little bit more time, so buyers have to really manage their expectations with the timeline. That's all.
Right. So when it comes to notary in Pennsylvania, the only thing you need to get notarized is typically a closing, and we're having remote closings. The sellers sign all their stuff ahead of time and don't even attend. The closing company pulls up in a car, and then the buyers pull up in a car. And with mask and gloves, things are handled that way. But buyers, I want to point out, we're through 5 bullet points out of the 12, and notice not once, if you reflect, have we been in person, in contact in person with you so far. Video tours, Google Earth, drive-by in the house, checking out realtor social media, and we just talked about how we do offers. Everything's done digitally. I mean, there's probably a small percentage of realtors, dare I say it would be more of a tenured aged realtor that would be against digital signing of documents, but even they have to kind of get on board with it nowadays. So far through 5 bullet points, we haven't even been in the same airspace. So everything is safe so far the way we're selling houses. Bullet point number 6, there are a million ways to send hand money, and I know my office has something set up where it can be wired in or something like that, and I'm very techie and all that, but I still love the hand money being snail mailed directly to the office. Again, buyers, super safe. Sign your check, put an envelope, put a stamp, lick it if you do, put it in the mail, forget about it. Michelle, how are you guys doing it?
So we're doing a lot of wires.
Okay, that's safe.
We do a lot of wires. We do also, we still do snail mail too, absolutely. But I would say probably a little bit more. But remember, I don't know, right? Everybody, even my landlords, everybody's doing electronic right now.
Yep.
Wires, and that's how when I take the listing to rent it, I'm handling that. We get the best app for their phone, so the rent is always paid, boom, 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 every month, you know.
I mean,
And
listen,
it's,
let's face it, the way we get contracts signed nowadays is completely different. I mean, and you sure you could still probably take a purchase contract out in the old days before COVID and have write it up in pen and physically collect a hand money check. But honestly, I don't think in 10 years I have done that. I mean, I have the hand money check mailed into the office because to be frank, again, I want to make it easy on myself. I'm very selfish. I don't want to have to be responsible for that. I don't want to deal with it. I don't even want to have to go back to the office to drop it off. So snail mail it.
so Pittsburgh, question for you about Pittsburgh, because I'm
Yep.
sure that people they're gonna see you, Brian Tessier, wonderful, wonderful agent. Happy I, bothered you. Um, so, so the in the state of New Jersey, we don't have to take a deposit when we're writing up a contract. The check or the electron, whatever is done, whatever money's done, it's after attorney review. Is that the
Okay.
same in Pittsburgh?
No, different. Back in the old school days, they used to give a physical personal check with the contract, and then as time went on, there's a space in the purchase order, that the purchase contract, that says within X amount of days the buyer will get the hand money check to the buyer's agent's office. So I usually write 10 days in there. It gives me time for, I don't know, U.S. mail screw ups or whatever, for the hand money check to come. But no, that comes in the old school. It came with the actual purchase. Whenever you got an offer written as a buyer's agent, hand it to the listing agent, you showed them that you had that. Yeah, it's different here.
Yeah,
It's different everywhere.
Yeah, so I was just curious. I'm sure
Yeah,
buyers, if they're looking at, people are going to be moving all over the place now. This
100%.
is what's happening because people are realizing they could work from home. So I could live anywhere.
It's going to be different than if you've purchased a bunch of homes in your life. You're probably like, I didn't do that before in this state. Well, everything's done differently. So that's why we're kind of talking about it. Hi, Liz with Janet. Okay, so we're.
Keller Williams, and she's Georgia.
Oh, nice.
She's in.
Welcome, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we are halfway through, and we're gonna get to some meat and potatoes. So number 7 is the next step in the process, and that is the home inspection. I put here, and I did one of these Instagram live with my home inspector, which is up on my YouTube, and we talked about him doing videos. So right now, he's with Pillar to Post, and nationwide, it might even be a global company, and they have digital document with digital photos. They fly a drone up, digital photos. They are looking into getting GoPros and putting them, there's like a headband with the GoPro or a chesty with the GoPro on it. And he would either just turn it on for the problem that he wanted to point out that was going in the inspection, or he may, depending on how long the inspection took, he's gonna play with it and see how it works, record the whole thing. He could upload it to a YouTube, make the link unlisted so nobody could see it except whoever has that link, copy that link and send it out. I think that's a godsend. I would have loved him. And I mean, just think how easy, Michelle, that's going to make our jobs negotiating problems if you see the problem.
Yeah. And also, talking about GoPro, and also just so buyers understand, everybody wants to be at the process. They want well, for myself anyway, because I am kind of a hand-holding agent. My buyers get used to, we all kind of work together and we want to do things together, right? So, but I will say, when you're allowing the professional to do his job and we're not really interrupting him, he's going to be more thorough. Just to touch upon that, I think that they're always thorough, but I think it's much easier when you are doing a job. And with the GoPro, that's phenomenal. I love that.
I think when you're focused on something, and buyers, let me put a scenario out there for you. You are going on vacation, you're driving to Myrtle Beach, Florida, whatever, and you're trying to follow directions and someone's yipping in your ear and totally distracting you. You miss the exit and you're like, "Arr!" That's kind of what a home inspector has to go through. So whereas I am a proponent of buyers being at the home inspection simply because they're going to point out what's going to go bad, what is near the end of its life. I think, and again, check your local state laws. You may not even be allowed to attend a home inspection during COVID DC, and it may change in a day from now. What's it like in New Jersey?
Whew. So we have to stay home. It's a real Jersey. We've been hit bad. you know, I'm not gonna. That's why I was
It's
like
because you're not
really nervous.
quarantined like Pittsburgh. That's why.
We are quarantined.
No,
We
you're
are
still allowed to
totally.
work. I'm not allowed to work. That's why. You're spreading the
Essential
germs.
business, my friend, essential business. I'm not spreading germs because I'm walking around with a body bag over me. Um, Also, really, really important for buyers to remember, just want to go back to this, masks, gloves, and if you don't have booties, because realtors are running out of booties too, let's face it, we're running out of stuff because we are using them. So keep shopping bags in your trunk. My clients and I, the last home that I just sold last weekend, maybe, we put shopping bags over our shoes. I don't think at this time anybody should be taking their shoes off walking into a home. I think that everything should be covered. That's what I think. That's just my opinion. It's only my opinion, but I think it's smarter if you're actually, before you walk into that house, covering your shoes. Nobody's in
Yes.
Atlanta? Bags, bags, girl. That's what you got to do. You have to improvise and you have to make sure that in your mind, it's always safety first. And really, I have to say, if you can sell a home virtually, you know, the home inspector is going to find out if the home is right anyway. That's what you have a home inspection for. Great agents will be able to tell you if this is a location. Let's face it, many of us, I mean, we know what locations are. Location, location, location. So if somebody calls me up and they want an investment property, it's probably not a good idea if I have a property that's next to something that isn't, you know, that's maybe making noise day and night, right? You know, it's like, you know, so I just want to mention that a lot of things can be, going back to all of our bullet points, virtually. A lot of things can be done that way.
Right, and that's bullet point number 8, as you had already dove into, which is awesome. I kind of left that up to you because I don't. We're not able to show houses in, Pennsylvania is still working on whether we should have booty, whether we have to have booties, mass, and all that. Now, I have yet to show a house during COVID, so I don't know if I agree with having booties on. I mean, what if you get COVID on the bottom of the booty and track it through the house? I mean, I don't. I'm not even going to use gloves either. I'm just going to wash my hands and use hand sanitizer.
Well, actually, washing the hands is, I think, number one.
Right.
I think washing your hands is probably even more important than the gloves, because I've watched nurses actually show how you can get it on everything with the gloves. So
Yep.
really, we have to be sensible. We have to be smart. We have to make sure that we're not going into a home where there's people. I'm sorry. We have to do things way different right now. That is the new normal. And as for the shoes, okay, if you know that you haven't walked anywhere with your socks on the outside, maybe, but
Who says I
I
have
think
socks
that
on?
oh, then I don't know, Brian. I'm really I
Um,
don't know. So,
it's hot out.
it's vacant. It's vacant homes right now, I think, are the number one place to go. And which brings me to my next point. If you are, you know, there are properties right now that are selling more than other properties. That's just how it always goes with markets, right?
Right.
Investment properties right now, I don't know about Pittsburgh, but Jersey, they are booming, absolutely booming.
You mean
And
before
so
COVID or during COVID?
before, during, no stop.
Right.
And so when I say investment, I mean multifamilies.
Oh, gotcha.
So if you have a tenant, if you know that the first and the second floor is the same layout, you have a vacant first floor
Right.
and the second, let's go to one. Don't torture these tenants.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I do that even before COVID. I did that. If it was the same floor plan, I would be like, let's just go look at the vacant unit. If we finish our tour and you feel this is for you, then I'll make a second appointment. We'll see the whole property.
That's exactly what I do, and I think that that's what we need. I think agents really, there's a lot of agents right now that are not comfortable showing here at this point, and I respect them for that. I mean, like I said, I have to go out when I don't go out all the time, but when I have, I do go out with body bag. I'm
Yeah.
cut completely.
And we're
So,
in Pittsburgh. We're getting ready to enter the phase that you've been in, so that's why it's fascinating for me and my other Pittsburgh agents that are going to watch this to see this, where because you're already ahead of the game. Again, we don't even have guidelines yet. They're still working on that stuff. We're not going back the 8th, so we don't even know when we're going back. We're not allowed to do anything. We're not allowed. Yeah, we're the only
well, you're
state
gonna,
that's not allowed to show real estate out of 50 states.
well, a lot of people would say that that's pretty impressive,
I
really.
know.
At the end of the day, real estate is an essential business, and we are helping the economy. And it's really important to sell homes in any climate, in any market, because we have to keep going. We just have to do it differently.
Oh, 100%. There's definitely going to be an adjustment. One thing I noticed on bullet point 7 I missed, and that is you wrote in there about appraisers being able to do drive-by.
I got one going on.
Can you tell everybody what that means?
Yeah, so and actually with this one, it's refinance right now on my clients. The appraiser is allowed to drive past the home and not go into the home. People have to be covered. They have to be protected. So all the guidelines are changing. Again, I'm just a realtor. I'm not an appraiser. I'm not a lawyer. I
Right.
can't, be giving out all of this information, but I can tell you what I'm seeing, and disclose that information. So yeah, they're driving by this multi-family property, and they're for a refinance. And I did have one appraisal during COVID, right before closing, which we brought a pole to that closing so we could be 6 feet away, and I attached a basket with the closing paperwork. And it actually, that article's in, I believe, the Times, or we got a lot of press for these drive-by closings. We were one of the first to do them because we had to. We had to give a way of doing it, and it was out of sheer necessity, because I think the office became quarantined because there was somebody who tested or was testing possibly positive. So we thought, well, we're not going to sit around that table. And I really don't think anyone should be sitting around tables right now if they can avoid it. It just doesn't make sense.
And that's,
People like it.
Yeah, I mean, the way closings have happened before or have going to change, that whole kumbaya, everybody gets to sit in the same room and hand the keys to each other and weep, is going to be over. It's going to be more my way, and that is heartless, cold. Give me the money, get the keys.
Yeah,
Let's stay on.
Relationship agent. I want to tell everybody. I want to, mention that comment. Very funny. So,
let's roll on to bullet point number 9, and that is, after you had the home inspection, let's just say there's some sort of issue. BC, before COVID, the way I operated is I would try to get a credit issued. I just feel it's better for both parties. I feel the seller doesn't really want to start tearing stuff apart because something else may break, and I feel I've seen it before where the sellers did fix something that was asked, and they didn't do a good quality workmanship type job, and it caused all kind of problems. So it works better for the buyer as well, because you get to control the quality. And now with COVID, you get to control who comes in your house. What are they wearing? Are they wearing mask, booties, etc.? When do they come in? And especially if you have a new baby or something like that, as a buyer, you want to control. It's a control issue.
which one more point I wanted to add to that. I think every buyer, prior to moving into your home, try to get a professional in there just to do a proper cleaning, because I think that's really important, especially if you're having a baby come into your home.
Yeah, you may see that on a rise. That's a good point. I may actually start using that in my transactions of asking for a professional cleaning job before closing.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to put that on the bullet points. I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely. And we also, in bullet point number 9, talked about walkthrough, the final walkthrough. The day, say you had to walk through to check the inspection repairs. If you got the credit, you eliminate a walkthrough, so there's less contact. And then most everybody does a walkthrough prior to close.
Well, so I've done them the day of the closings, but on WhatsApp. And I sat here with my laptop and my phone, My phone was to be on WhatsApp with them.
Mhm.
That's only if there was a vacant place for them to go into. Again, has to be vacant. Um, because they did have tenants. It was a three-family. They walked in. I was like, hey, we're on the water. Did you do this? Then they were leaving. Did you remember to do that? No. Like, so they ran back in. And I typed up a few things, but it was because of COVID 19, which is, that brings us back to buyers also having to understand there are certain things that cannot be done right now. Like, let's say there's a garage full of, materials. You may have to get a credit for that. And after this is over, because I believe this will pass eventually, this will be done. When it's over, then you get it cleaned out. I mean, they're just setting the expectations up realistically, going back to that. So important.
Yeah, and
So
I think even in Pittsburgh, I think we're allowed to, the buyers are allowed to do the physical walkthrough. I mean, you can't skip the walkthrough. I mean, you've got to run the water. You've got to make sure the freezer is frozen. I mean, you just can't skip a physical walkthrough. I mean, if you have to, try to get the seller or an agent, again, refer to bullet point number one, and that is try to get some sort of video of everything being, the repairs being done and everything being operational before you take possession.
we were doing that. Well, we were typing it up like for the few items. They did the walkthrough. I just wasn't there with them
Gotcha.
because they have a couple kids, and I just wanted to make sure that if you just
I
never,
agree.
we're treating it like anybody can have it. Anyone could be a carrier. So just be sensible with your clients and be fair. We have to all
Right.
be fair.
If it comes down to a
Respect.
concern between, the buyer's agent and the buyers and all that, I mean, I would rather the buyers not do the walkthrough and me do the walkthrough because I know what I'm looking for.
I would too, but in this particular case, there were certain things that they were looking for, so
Gotcha.
it worked for us,
Right.
and it was fine. But that's a good point.
Yeah.
I might
So,
actually recommend. One of the girls did that recently. I saw that one of the other agents in Jersey City. I thought that was cool. She was there, with the whole, doing the whole video. I might
yeah,
start
I
doing that
mean,
myself.
and this is for buyers. This whole purpose of this video is for buyers. We want to give you the guidelines. So ask, it would be better for your buyer's agent, provided they have a level of experience, to do the walkthrough on your behalf if you're not going to be there. Maybe even have them do it. And I've done that for any buyer's agent that has represented somebody remotely that couldn't make it into town has probably done this. I've attended the home inspection without the buyers. I've done the walkthrough and made sure all the repairs were made, and there was no damage on the way to closing. So yeah, at buyers, ask your buyer's agent to make sure you're represented. All
Right.
right, bullet point number 10, and we kind of touched on it already. I think I let the cat out of the bag around bullet point number 2, and that is closings are being done in Pittsburgh in parking lots while buyers and a closing agent stay in their cars, all masked up, gloved up, and everything else. Some sellers, if they want to attend that type of closing, there's no real benefit, but we recommend that the sellers come in ahead of time, sign their stuff, or get it notarized and remotely close. How are you guys doing it?
Mail away. I think the sellers should just be doing their
I agree.
paperwork ahead of time. I think that I think it keeps it, first of all, you get to touch upon everything. That way, because that day it's the buyers that are, doing the closing. They're the ones who maybe have to go. But really, again, it's also less people. Because
Yeah.
just so you know, in New Jersey, we want less than 10 people. And we really don't want any crowds. And you're going to find, being that you guys are sort of following our lead, it's the same thing. People are going to be, you'll see. You're when you go back to that, you're going to see, like, there are guidelines that you guys are going to have to follow, and look, we just follow them, we do it, and we'll get through this.
Yeah, I mean, buyers, keep in mind the best practice of you staying safe is the least amount of contact with other humans and surfaces. So that's why we created these 12 bullet points, which try to point out how you should navigate a purchase in most states, by keeping as little contact airspaces with other humans as possible.
And buyer's agents, when you're leaving a place, if the listing agent leaves the Clorox wipes, it's a really nice thing to take a Clorox wipe, when you're leaving and wipe the doorknob down and close the door.
Yeah,
It's like those little things really
yeah,
mean a lot to a
and that
seller
brings
too.
that brings us right into bullet point 11, actually. Let's talk about safety items, and I'm going to leave this up to you. You kind of talked about it already, but since we're here, let's go ahead and go over it again, since I haven't had a party to this at all.
Hand sanitizer, start investing in that. If you went public in the stock market, oh my God, invest. No, just a realtor. But
Right.
really, you got to stock up on these things. Realtors, it's really buyers agents. It's really important to have them. But buyers, we ask that you have them too, because you know we everybody's running low. You know you're going to see when you go back from that
Right.
beautiful place that you've been going in a good way.
Yep. So I think just to build on it, I think everybody should have that. You can't rely on your buyer's agent. Can't rely on the listing agent. I think the seller should have hand sanitizer. I think the seller should have booties out. I think the seller should have gloves out. I think the buyer should have those things in their car. I think the buyer's agent should have those things in their car. It's better to be over prepared than under prepared when it comes to this. I mean, you don't want four people walking around with no gloves and mask,
Absolutely.
right?
Oh, in New Jersey, two to a home. Just remember, and Pittsburgh's probably going to follow that. It's you walk in. So if you've got four people, that agent's going to be walking one in at a time. So I'm just kind of letting you know this is the new normal for now. I don't know if this is for always, but for now.
Is that two total people or two plus the agent? Two total people. Okay. Yeah, and like you said, it may have been different yesterday, then it's gonna be different tomorrow, but Pittsburgh may be different than Jersey. Who the heck knows?
Right. Right. When I hang up with this call and we're done with this Instagram, they're going to say, yeah, nobody's allowed in the house. So just remember that in the new normal, things change from day to day. And that also goes with the, by the way, there's a little noise in the background. I'm just going to close this door right over here.
The beauty of live. Well, I mean, we're at bullet point number 11 of 12 anyway. So I think we gave a lot of good tips, and we're going to get this in writing in a PDF for agents if they want to hand out, and a handout to our buyers. And bullet point number 12 is, I just kind of threw this in there, and take it as you will. These are crazy times. Purchasing a home is a super memorable, crazy event in your life, as it is buyers. So my opinion is document it, man. I mean, we are going to get through this 5 years from now. There'll be something new. This will be a distant memory. So, document it. I mean, everybody's videoing nowadays. Make a little vlog out of it, a blog. Save it for a couple years down the line if you want. It's like a wedding that you planned all this time for, and then it rained, and you hated it at the time, but you look back on it, you're like, oh my God, it was such a memorable experience. So just try to make it memorable. Buyers agents, it might be a good idea to document it and give it to the buyers as some sort of gift or a reminder of their 1 year anniversary or something.
It's a really gift, to be honest. I think that's a really wonderful idea, and I think that these are the things that, I mean, you're buying a home in a pandemic, during a pandemic. I mean, I just had a birthday in a pandemic. I mean, it's pretty wild, but have a sense of humor. As hard as this is, make sure you watch the news. Don't watch all the news all the time. That could be a little tough too. Try to balance it out, and remember, the time to buy a home is always right now. It's always right now. It doesn't matter what's going on. You know what I'm saying? There's just pretty much always a good time to buy a home. It just depends on the circumstances, the price, the location, always.
In Jersey, it's always a good time. That's why you're essential. In Pittsburgh, it's not a good time. We're not essential.
Oh, you're totally essential. I mean, you are a rock star yourself. My gosh. So I want to thank you very much, because I reached out to Brian early on and said, hey, you want to do a live? Because I just thought it would be great. I think it's really important right now in this time. You've got to be inspired. You got to keep on going, and you got to have, again, going back to it, sense of humor. Try to understand that things change from time to time. One point that I do want to make is, if you are buying right now with a mortgage, you want to make sure you have things lined up beforehand. Because that's really, really important, because even though there's a perception right now that with COVID-19, that sometimes people might be able to get a home, that it's really easy, they have all the time in the world. I don't think so. I think it's already getting busier from what I'm
Oh
seeing.
yeah.
So I want to just touch upon that, because if you're not ready, you're going to miss out. Like this is a good time to buy a home.
Yeah, and
Um,
buyers, forget about lowballing. That's not going to work. I don't know how it is in Jersey, but uh, the market's still hot. I mean, I'm going to pre-warn all buyers, don't lowball. But sellers aren't, this isn't a financial crisis. Sellers are like, oh my God, I got to dump my house. I've had a couple offers come in my listings and they were low. They were just testing it out. I give them credit for it. But my sellers are like, we'll just wait for the ban to be lifted and things to get back to normal. So this is not a
my
low ball
investors,
economy.
I will always try. To my investors, I will always try.
Oh yeah, yeah. As an investor, I have a rule when I put an offer in. I should be embarrassed of it. That's how low it should be.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but I've watched a ton of webinars. I'm down here in Miami, so I've been watching a lot of luxury stuff, and they said the same thing. Don't bring lowball offers, aren't working. Don't bring lowball offers. The sellers will wait it out. So just a little advice for you buyers. I'm going to wrap it up. It's been about 40 minutes. So the purpose of this, Michelle and I did this, there's no personal gain in it at all. We want to try to help other realtors out there. And most importantly, we want to give good information to buyers. You get a lot of crap out there, and we're trying to stay positive. We understand there's a lot of health problems going on, and we're going to leave that totally alone. We gave you some tips and tricks that I'm going to publish and on a PDF and share with everybody. But of course, we're not doctors. We're not in the health field. We're not lawyers. Exercise these bullet points at your own volition, using your own caution. I want to thank Michelle for joining me. She just put $6 million in contract, I think, since COVID has started.
Listings and buyers, and I don't want to put that out there because, not yet. Don't put that out there.
It's all right. She's a beast as compared to my $0 millions I've put since I've been on COVID. So buyers, if you see this and you have any questions, I don't know what platform you're going to see this on, YouTube, email, Facebook, whatever, just DM me or Michelle Messina, and we'll get you the answers and any information you need. Michelle, thank you. Stay safe and get back to work.
I'm going back right now. Thanks so much. Bye.
All right. See you, babe.